Have you ever wondered what the exact steps are to lose fat, but not only lose fat and get leaner, live longer, but do it in a way that doesn't sacrifice your energy, your focus, and your momentum in your life? Well, that's what today's episode is all about. I'm taking a complicated, long process that I've been working on for a really long period of time, and then just tightening it down and simplifying it. And I'm gonna share with you what I believe to be the 6 phases of energy first fat loss. Basically how you can get energy, get focus, but also use that as a vehicle or an engine to drive weight loss. In my opinion, this is the fastest way to lose weight. It is the most sustainable ways to lose weight, and it makes you feel the best. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience, how we got here, and then I'm going to break this down for you into 6 phases. And I'm hoping that after doing this, you're going to see that it is so much easier than you thought, and we've maybe been overcomplicating it all along. You are listening to the Get Leaner and Live Longer podcast. I'm your host, Nate Palmer. I've been coaching since about 2008, helped over 1,200 people level up their lives and get in amazing shape. I'm really excited to dive into this episode. This is the culmination of a lot of years of work and energy and effort, and I think this is going to be very valuable if you listen to the end and take note of these 6 phases. I'm curious to know where you think you are. So if you're ready to see what it looks like to get leaner, live longer, and do so in a way that actually builds your energy and focus, well, then stick around. Let's do this. Okay, so back in like 2012 to 2015, I was a full-time trainer in Seattle. I was doing like 40 to 45 sessions per week. So I'm in the gym like 60 hours. I was eating clean. I was lifting weights. I was doing everything right. But I look and felt kind of like trash. I'll be honest with you. I was inflamed. I was bloated. I was tired all the time. So I would come in, I'd have like good energy. I was a little sleepy at 6 a.m. Have good energy at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, then crash at around 10:30. And then I was super tired from my afternoon clients. Trainers have that trainer donut. Basically, they would work all morning, usually from like 6 till 11. And then we work again from like 2 until 7. So kind of that middle of the day. And I just could never recover from the middle of the day. So then I got paid by this website to write an article for them on eating for energy, which is different from what I normally did, which is talk about muscle building or fat loss, whatever else. So I went deep. I researched everything, kind of a bunch of ancient practices, some modern biohacking, metabolism studies, you name it. I was looking at this stuff and I noticed a pattern that people who felt amazing didn't eat the same way as people who were constantly drained or constantly in the throes of diet culture. So after writing this article and seeing some people talking about it and commenting and saying that it was working for them, I flipped my own approach and I started doing the same thing. So I started eating for energy. And all of a sudden, it seemed to really click for me. I started feeling great. I stopped having cravings. I felt like I decreased my inflammation, my bloating. So, obviously I'm a chatty Cathy. Personal trainers are huge gossips. We're like hairdressers. So I started telling my clients about what I was doing. And so they started testing it as well. Because we talk, that's just what happens. So soon all of my overworked clients, people who are working in startups, parents, entrepreneurs, night shift nurses, started seeing great results. And that's when I knew this is not just a cool trick. This is a viable method for getting in great shape while still maintaining and building your focus and your energy. I used to believe that fat loss was just all about pushing harder in the gym, doing more cardio, HIIT training. That's not true. Then I was like, well, it's probably all about willpower. Just got to muscle down and just get after it. Nope, that didn't work. It just made me binge peanut butter and eat it out of the jar with my fingers. And then I was like, well, carbs are probably the enemy. That wasn't right. And it also made me sad because tacos have carbs. Or I thought that maybe energy was something that you came after fat loss. Like you had to kind of get through this horrible part and then eventually you start having energy. And turns out that's not true either. It's the key to fat loss. If you don't have energy, you might not be doing something right. And then I was like, well, the problem is probably just me. I'm just broken. I'm inherently flawed. This is not going to work. I've never been good at this. But the truth is I was doing a lot of the right things, but I was just doing them in the wrong order. And I feel like that's where a lot of people I talk to are. They're doing a lot of stuff, but it's not necessarily paying off because they didn't hit it in the right phases and the right steps. So if there was a degree though, in trying really hard and getting mid results, I would have graduated top of my class. I just feel like I worked so hard to have a mid body and a moderately clean car and house. But once I started stacking things in the right sequence, everything seemed to change for me. Fat loss got a lot easier. My energy skyrocketed. I wasn't just surviving the day. I was actually felt like I was attacking it and getting after it. And so I wouldn't say I created this at that time, but this is something that I have kind of refined my approach. And now I've been able to actually articulate this through having thousands of conversations with clients about these things, doing it in my own life, seeing it work with my friends, my family, my wife, etc. And that's why I now call this the 6 phases of energy first fat loss. So it's not just like a trendy diet or workout plan. I'm not trying to create the new 75 hard. This is just the order of operations for people who want to get lean, stay lean, feel amazing without tracking every single bite they eat or spending hours in the gym. Phase 1 is simple and yet a little bit brutal. Phase 1 is called get off sugar. Okay. It's very simple. You cut sugar, all of it, even fruit. Okay. Why? Because it resets your taste buds, it slashes cravings, and it jumpstarts fat burning. And I don't hate fruit. I don't think you should never eat fruit. But what I found through doing multiple renditions of a sugar detox is that people will ditch the processed sugars, but then lean on fruit as a crutch and never really change their taste buds and how their cravings work. So this just works better. So phase 1 is get off sugar. I actually run a 5-day sugar detox. Usually it's $19, but you can go to the free sugar detox and actually get that for free right now. I'm running it, as kind of a intro because if we're talking about this and you are in this place where you just feel like you're bloated, you feel like you're inflamed, feel like you have low energy, you're snacking a lot, this is the thing that you need to start with. Okay. So grab this. It's free. It's 5 days. You can do it at home. It's amazing. Tons of people have done it. Our best ever results. So I dropped 13.5 pounds. Obviously not all of it's fat, a lot of it's inflammation and bloating. But most people drop, somewhere between 5 and 7 in 5 days. So it's crazy. But it works. It hits hard. And by day 5 though, I feel like you're clearer, you're lighter, and you're also more in control of your cravings than you've been in years. Most people start feeling it by day 3. Okay. It's not about being perfect. It's about proving to yourself that you can do this, that you can win, that you can cut out things that have been a problem for you. And at the end of it, what's great is that you just feel a little bit different. You feel like you've gotten a hard reset. You've restored factory settings, and you're not necessarily feeling the push to have sweets at 10:30, at 2:00, at 4:00 before bed. And when you stop having those cravings, stop having to muscle through those, that's when I think it starts to become a lot easier to win. But first step is we have to get off sugar. Phase 2 is now that you got off sugar, we got to get moving. Movement, not workouts, not burpees, nothing crazy, just moving. Okay. And a lot of people are already in this spot. They're already doing these things. And if you are there, you can skip this and kind of skip ahead. That's totally fine. But if you don't have a movement practice carved out and have a sacred space in your day where 30 to 45 minutes of a daily sweat, you have to do this before you can keep going. Before you can pass go, before you can collect $200, this is one of the key components to energy first fat loss. 30 to 45 minutes of walking will do that. Not because it torches calories, even though it's pretty good for that, but because it builds your identity, it builds your metabolism, it helps you start teaching your body how to burn fat. It helps you become someone who moves every day, no matter what. Like I said, it's a sacred space in your day. We need to create that so we can shuffle in different things. So if you want to do yoga, you want to go to the gym, you want to just go outside and skip a bunch, you like running, it doesn't matter. Just carve that space out, treat that as a sacred spot. I like to pair this up with a killer morning routine and then some vitamin D3, and then some electrolytes. That's kind of like the pairing when I go with this, that you start to feel good while building the habit. So starting to layer some of these pieces in. So it's movement, but now you're taking a couple supplements that are going to help you feel a little bit better. Start building your energy, building your immune system, burning fat, giving you more hydration. All of a sudden your joints feel better. Your body feels better. That low back ache you've had for the last 3 years, that just kind of a low level ache starts going away. Your energy goes up, your stress goes down, and then your body starts to change. The goal with each piece, we're just layering this on. We're building momentum. We're building the foundation so that it's easy to get the results that you want. Phase 3 is get fueled. Now, a lot of times I did this backwards for years, where I would start people off on a training protocol, have them go to the gym, work out, and then they'd they were so inflamed, they were so bloated, they had such little energy, they were relying on motivation that like they'd either get hurt, tweak something, didn't feel that good, low confidence, just didn't have it and weren't able to stick with the plan. So by starting off by getting our movement in and then starting to work on nutrition before we even get to the training aspect, this is what starts creating some rapid results. Okay. So this is the $1 Million Body Method. If you haven't checked out the book, you can go to getnatesbook.com and download a free copy. It's also on Amazon and Audible. But this is where I talk about what I call energy first fat loss, like the actual science behind it. So I'll go way more into depth than I will get on this podcast. If you want to check that out, it also comes with like recipes and all sorts of stuff that you probably will have questions on if you want to go down this road. But basically, here's how it works. Okay. It's protein first meals, light in the morning, carbs at night. I call it energy first fat loss because that's exactly what it does. It keeps you sharp during the day and lets you sleep like a bear at night. That's what we're looking for. Get in that cave. No tracking needed, no endless recipes, just systems that work. And then generally speaking, I like to get you on a program where you are only cooking about 2 times per week. Okay. There's that batch meal prep, that meal planning roadmap that plays really nicely into this phase 3, the get fueled. So I like to teach people how to plan their meals, prep their meals, and then just make it very easy for you to get the good nutrition that you need. Usually what I'll do with this is I'm focused on having a protein and a fat for breakfast. Usually that's like the whey protein. I'll put a little creatine in that. I'll do some either peanut butter powder for a little lower fat or peanut butter for some higher fat. I'll do some almond milk and some ice and then put some salt in there. Okay. That's my breakfast pretty much 6 days out of 7. So if you have the whey and the creatine in there, now we're again stacking some supplements on top of there that is going to help you feel better, get better results. Now you're actually going to be able to build more muscle while you're burning fat. That's kind of a cheat code. Lunch is going to be higher protein, higher vegetables, some large volume, but low calories. And then dinner is going to be our big meal. That's our recovery meal. So we're going to have high protein again. You're seeing a trend there. Some vegetables, and then most of your carbs. Usually I focus on rice or potatoes for dinner. That's a good way to do it. But obviously tacos, you're going to have a tortilla with that. So phase 4 is a really fun one. This is where I think that people start getting like dialed in here. Okay. And again, we're not even at training yet. We haven't even talked about that. That's just a lot farther along in the process. And if you're already training, you don't need to stop training. Okay. If you already introduced a training habit, you have a good gym routine, you can keep doing that, but just start going through these other phases as they go, and you'll start feeling better results from the training aspect that you're already doing. So this phase 4 is get clear. This is the recovery phase. This is where we talk about sleep, stress, and how you get the mental clarity to stop feeling like you're white knuckling life and just holding on to a roller coaster that never seems to end. This is where we start to introduce 24-hour fasts, not to starve you, but to reset you. We already did one in the first phase, but now we're going to kind of introduce them on a more regular basis. We drop in some magnesium. I do a journaling practice. It's not necessarily journaling like, dear diary, today I had ground beef. But it's what I call, it's one of the 7 daily investments that's in the $1 Million Body Method that I call the final deposit. It's not taking a poop. It is taking stuff out of your brain and is putting it onto a sheet of paper to let you know what you need to do tomorrow to get the results that you want, to feel really clear in your day. And if you have clarity around what you do in your day, everything else seems to start feeling a lot more simplistic, manageable, and less just out of control all the time, like that roller coaster, you're going backwards and it's also on fire. This is also a great time to add in the 8 and 6 sleep systems. You start sleeping like you actually deserve to feel good. You start waking up with energy without snoozing your alarm clock. People usually say this is when they start feeling human again. A lot of people start saying they feel superhuman, but I really think that most of the time people are just operating at 60% of their maximum capacity. They're not feeling their best, and they've gotten used to that over time. If they can nail this get clear phase, all of a sudden they're like, wow, life feels a lot better. I have a lot more energy, a lot more focus. I'm a lot more optimistic about what's going on. It's just better. Okay. Now phase 5, this is one like my favorite phase. This is what I always was screwing up with people and putting them into this before they were ready, which is get strong. Now we lift. Okay. Lifting is one of the greatest longevity drugs ever. And it's not even close. We're not doing it to get sore. We're doing it to get jacked, to be honest with you. We're going to learn progressive overload. We want to master our form. Obviously, like if you go to a golfing range and you take a lesson, you're swinging a club and you're learning that. And there's so much nuance to it. Weight training is simpler, yes, but there's so many exercises and so many different ways to target muscles and hit different things. So it's a kind of a never ending pursuit of getting dialed in with your form. So if you're already lifting, we just want to make sure that you're doing it at the best, highest level possible. So that way you're not sacrificing your form or your low back or hurting your neck or your shoulders, your knees. We're helping you feel better when you leave, not worse. Okay. I want you to start walking into gyms like you own the place, so you build confidence, you're feeling good. You see what it feels like to crush a workout and you're like, oh, I can do that. Okay. This is also when you'll start feeling your body changing fast. You'll start seeing visible muscle because you're building muscle. You start seeing more muscle because you're losing fat. You're going to get better posture. And then the confidence that you get when you start feeling good and looking good is insane. You're going to be fueled by everything we built up so far, these last 4 phases up until now. And this is really where your identity starts to lock in when you start becoming a person who exercises and a person who lifts weights. Okay. Then we go to the next level. This is get optimized. Okay. This is where a lot of people start. This is your cold plunging and your biohacking and all those sorts of things. But most people, when they're doing that, they have not earned the right to optimize. And now that you've gone through all 5 phases, you've earned the right to do this. You've got energy, you got clarity, you got muscle, you got momentum. That's what we're looking for. So we start playing with things like 48-hour fast, 72-hour fast, mouth taping, cold exposure, grounding, morning sunlight, some of these extra things that will make you feel better and help you out, but are not necessarily the primary needle movers that we need in the first couple phases if we're trying to get leaner and live longer. At this, your identity completely shifts. You become the person who doesn't need a reset because you're just already living a system that builds you up, that edifies you, and that is a self-propagating cycle of feeling good all the time. Okay, so this is the 6-phase system. And sometimes people will take 2 years to get through all the phases. Sometimes people take 3 months. But I would encourage you to take as much time as you need in order to really dial in and feel good in each one of these phases and make sure that you are checking all the boxes before moving on. I mean, like, it's not like if you have to be in a rush to get optimized. That's like the cherry on top. That's the little sprinkles. That's the bonus round. But if you do this out of order, what I've found is that you tend to regress and regress and regress. You run into issues both with mindset, with injuries, with scheduling. And so by doing it in this fashion, I've just seen so many people have great results over the course of their program and actually be able to sustain them. The global industry average for people who lose weight and keep it off is about 5%, which means 95% of people lose weight and regain it all back. And that includes people on Weight Watchers, people with bariatric surgeries, people on GLP-1s, Ozempic, et cetera. Because most people don't take the time to actually develop the system and learn how to implement this in their life where it feels accessible and sustainable. Most people white knuckle it, go really, really hard, lose a bunch of weight, and then like, whew, glad that's over, and then go back to eating like an asshole. Okay. That's not what we want to do. We want to have sustainable long-term results. So that's the 6-phase system. It's the exact sequence we've used to help thousands of people go from burnt out to feeling energized, people going from overweight to feeling lean, and people feeling stuck to feeling unstoppable. If you want to get started in this and you want to just take that first step, just go to thefreesugardetox.com and get the 5-day sugar detox. It's got a handbook. It's got the recipes. It's got the healing salad. It tells you what to drink in the morning to ensure that your blood sugar stays stable, to ensure that you're digesting your food at a really high level. You're extracting all the nutrients from that. A lot of things you're going to get out of that are things that you may have not even understood or known in the past that were necessary. So I think it's a crucial component. Even if you don't go down the rest of the route, do a sugar detox, add that into your routine, do that a couple times a year, and you're going to start feeling a lot better. And it's going to give you the motivation to really pursue this. And I'll just tell you right now, the day one of the sugar detox is just drink some water in the mornings. Okay. It's a special type of water but most of the stuff that you're going to have at home anyways. And then day 2 is like drink some water and then get some movement in this specific way called a physical detox. So this takes such a limited amount of time. So if you've not done this before and you're feeling bloated, you're feeling stuck, you feel like you have cravings all the time, start with this. And this is going to make your life just so much easier. It's going to make fat loss so much more accessible. And if you do this in the right order, it's going to take away so much of the headache that people see that they have when it comes to losing weight. So this works if you're a parent with no time at all to prep your food, to make your food. It works if you're an entrepreneur with 1,000 tabs open in your desktop and on your brain. And it works especially well if you've tried everything and felt like nothing really sticks for you. This is the path. This is the order. This is the way. And when you do it right, fat loss becomes a side effect of building tremendous energy, superhuman focus in your life. If this resonates, shoot me a message on Instagram _$1,000,000body. I'd love to point you in the right direction. Otherwise, grab that free sugar detox at thefreesugardetox.com. I'll put that link in the show notes. Thank you so much for checking this out. I hope this is helpful for you. And if you did like what you heard today, feel free to leave me a review and click subscribe here. That always helps smart your boy out. And I appreciate it. Have an amazing day. Talk to you soon.